Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons.
Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. It is a pleasure to have you on board. Remember, I appreciate you following me here on Facebook. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, please consider subscribing there and giving me the old thumbs up. I got to tell you, we still have a chance of some storms tonight that could be strong to severe, and things are pretty much on time as the models were showing earlier today. Not really firing yet. We do have a few storms to talk about, and to do that, we're going to talk about that latest radar. Again, the risk of severe storms tonight, mainly focusing on areas here in eastern portions of the Dakotas, all of South Dakota, into western parts of Nebraska, and it snakes its way up into parts of Wisconsin as well. Now, here is a peek at that latest radar. And to do that, we're going to take a look at our image across the region. I've got the Aberdeen radar turned on to highlight the strongest of the storms in the area right now. These are pretty much staying well to the south of our area. Moving in on Appleton is a very strong thunderstorm, moving to the north and east, and some storms already in that area, a little bit of lightning. These are drifting north and eastward toward the Morris and Benson area as we head into the evening hours, and look at this on towards St. Cloud and Melrose and Sauk Center. So the strongest storms right here. Now, as we take a look at their speed of movement right now, they're still kind of just drifting along out there. Hey, Nathan, good to have you on board. I hope you're having a great night tonight. Thanks for watching, KD2. It's a pleasure to see you. Now, this storm is moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour, and we just don't see anything upstream from Fargo at this particular time. So does that mean we're not going to get storms? Well, not at all. Flooding rains are going to be in the forecast. We do have a lot of thunderstorm activity out west of Bismarck and Minot right now, and that line of storms is non-severe. There is a risk of a few of these storms becoming severe, but they have not throughout the evening hours. The main event is really just getting ready to unfold, as we'll show you in the hour-by-hour forecast here in a minute. Will Bagley get anything tonight? It's going to be closer to morning, Katie, as it looks like Clearwater County and parts of northwest Minnesota will have the heavy rain lasting persistently in the deep hours of the overnight and the early hours tomorrow. We'll get right to your forecast for you here, Katie, in just one moment. So the showers and thunderstorms moving over Lake Sakakawea, bringing some rain to much needed Hazen and Beulah and the Beulah Bay area up near Lake Sakakawea. And these are some heavy rain-producing thunderstorms, and they really are continuing to march off to the east at a pretty good clip, heading right toward the Highway 83 corridor. Now, as we take a look elsewhere across the region, Minneapolis had seen some strong storms. And look at this, as you already know about this stuff working its way through southwestern Minnesota, but a couple of severe thunderstorm watches out there near La Crosse, Wisconsin, heading into the evening hours. So for the most part, things have remained quiet, but will it remain quiet? Let's go to the latest. We're going to hop over and look at a couple of different models here together, and we'll analyze what's going on here as we take a peek at Model A. This is a rapid, updated, and rapidly cycling model, so it updates every hour. I'm going to pull up this one that goes out into tomorrow. We have the risks tonight. Let's just clear this out. As you go to bed, sleep. If strong storms are in your area, you're waking up to thunder, then if there's anything nasty, Hutch will be here for you. Just pull up your computer. If you don't feel like it, pull up your cell phone and watch me on your Facebook feed there and YouTube feed. Now, as we go through the nighttime hours, the low pressure system right now is still located in parts of eastern Wyoming and eastern Colorado. The winds will be increasing. Showers and thunderstorms will form in the area. This is just really here on the backside of a trough system that's extended northward into parts of central North Dakota. So that's not the main event shower activity that we're seeing out there, as I just described. Now, watch what happens as that low begins to intensify and lift into our neck of the woods. As that happens, boom, here we go. Look at things firing off. So again, the stuff up by Minot is just on the northern fringe, not expected to be severe. Jessica, thanks for your stars. Andy, yep, the SRH is pretty high, you say, huh? Well, again, if we take a look at some of the factors with regards to some of these storms here, look at that. Just to point it out, a little bit of snow in the mountains of north central Wyoming out there, south of the Billings area. So keep that in mind as well. So we have this line of storms. Northern counties not expected to see too much, but this band here is the main event, and all of these cells here, the main event in all reality as we head into the evening hours. So Here is a peek then at what we have going on with regards to the storms as we go through. This is now midnight because you take this Greenwich Mean Time, you subtract the 5 hours, that's 00. So that's midnight on your Tuesday morning. These storms are going to be making their way in. So the best chance of showers and storms in the Red River Valley and parts of western Minnesota begin as we cross through the 10 to midnight time frame here. So the next hour or two, we'll continue to watch and see how things go. Sherry says, do I need to put my patio cushions under the cover in DL tonight? I would. I mean, I don't like my cushions getting over an inch of rain. You have a great chance in DL of seeing, if you're talking about Detroit Lakes in Minnesota, yep, there's a good chance of some soaking rain and the potential for some gusty thunderstorms. Watch this. So DL right here. As we look across the area, here's this leading edge, and there's these showers moving in from the west. As we go through the midnight hour, the storms get west. They surge north of DL, but your best chance is going to be in that, well, midnight to 2, 3 a.m. in the DL area. That's round one, right? But then look at this. Then another line smashes through from the west. Will these overnight storms be severe? You know what? There's indications that there's a chance of severe tonight. The main risk is going to be some marginally large hail, upwards of around an inch or so in diameter. And then the gusty straight line winds associated with this storm, first from the south and then whipping around from the north and from the east. And this just gets us to about 5 in the morning. Now, the rain showers will be persistent. The risk of stronger storms pushes off into central Minnesota, and we get a break. But we ain't done yet, because you see this low pressure center right here is still going to move through. As that one lifts through, this is your mid-morning time frame. Scattered showers return to North Dakota and Minnesota. And we're going to see a northerly cold wind taking hold out in the western Dakotas. So a cold rain out there. The risk of severe for you is all but done once your wind becomes strong out of the north. However, right along here on your Tuesday, this is noonish on Tuesday, we're going to have a warm front setting up here. And along that warm front boundary, that is where you're going to have some extra spin. My thought is the best risk of strong to severe storms that could have some tornadoes will happen as we go through the event into your afternoon on Tuesday. Right here, do you see these isolated cells? There is absolutely going to be some turning in the atmosphere for tomorrow. It doesn't look like a widespread tornado outbreak the way this is looking right now, more linear storms, but any of these isolated ones will have a chance at producing in the early afternoon. Notice the risk of severe tomorrow to the east of the Red River Valley. Our chance of rain will continue though as we go through. Now, we get quieter as we go towards midweek. That's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast. Hey, Brooke, I hope you're doing very, very well. Good to see you here. Autumn, is Fargo in a high risk? We are not in a high risk. There has not been a high risk issued in our area by the Storm Prediction Center. Well, right now what we have is called a slight risk for the nighttime hours tonight. The storm chances won't even begin until, well, the next hour or two. Around midnight to 1 o'clock, we'll have a chance of some storms moving through. Those will be followed up by some more overnight. Locally heavy rain is going to be a threat. Kathy, how about Gwinner? Gwinner's in the risk area, and you will see the storms first this evening, right around that 10 to midnight hour. That's 45 minutes away. But let me show you where these storms are right now. They are a long ways away as we take a look at your radar. This radar brought to you by my friends at Precision Lawn and Landscape. Remember, it's that time of year where we have a lot of rain going on, and that rain puddles up and there come the mosquitoes. Then you're swatting them suckers like, your arm gets tired, then you get tendonitis in your elbow from swatting at mosquitoes. I don't want you getting tendonitis in the elbow. Call my friends at Precision Lawn and Landscape, because not only can they manicure your lawn, and ask them about the Hutch's discount, because they're still offering to new clients 10, count them, 1, 2, 10% off of new clients from lawn maintenance work. But they also will take care of those buggy problems. That's right. They have family-friendly, pet-friendly ways to deal with those mosquitoes. Their treatments last up to 3 weeks, not only around your house, but around Lakes Country too. They service that area. So keep them in mind. Give them a call. Tell them Hutch sent you now. We don't have any storms south of the area in Richland County, south of Fargo yet. All of the activity really focusing out here in Minnesota right now. But the model I just showed you has this line filling out a little bit more to the north and then blossoming with the entrance of some upper level energy as this system works its way through. So our chance of rain Well, it is going to come in the overnight hours. Could there still be some hail? Well, let's take a look at a couple of factors on the model. And to do that, I'm going to pull this back up right over here. We're going to go back to the model, and we're going to go look at another factor on this model here. And we're going to look at the energy in the atmosphere overnight. To make big hail, we need to have upward motion that is strong enough to support good hail and sizable hail. So I don't believe we're going to have a risk of huge hail tonight, but there could be some sizable hail that could cause some damage. So if you have a chance to park the vehicle in the garage before bed tonight, I would do that. Taking a look at some of the energy in the atmosphere and the timing at which it arrives. Notice this red area. That is where we have what's called convective atmospheric potential energy. It's potential energy. It doesn't mean it absolutely will happen. And what we're talking about is how fast air rises. You can imagine that if you have a quarter-sized piece of hail, the wind needs to be blowing up pretty strong to support the weight of that quarter-sized piece of hail. If you have baseball-sized hail, it needs to be an even stronger wind. The more energy we have in the atmosphere to push the air up really fast, then the larger the hailstones that we may be able to produce. So as we walk you through the forecast, you're going to see this energy start to push northward as we cross into the late night hours. I'll tell you here, this is just after midnight. Notice it doesn't really make its way up to the I-94 corridor. It mainly stays in South Dakota, and it's not nearly as bright red. That's a huge sign that the energy in the atmosphere may not be able to support the huge sized hail that, could really cause some concerns out there. I'm going to look at what's called the most unstable layer in the atmosphere. Now you're going to see some reds come in here. What this tells me is that some of these storms may have some energy for making some hail because the south winds aloft above the ground will be enough to really support that updraft. Not necessarily a surface-based storm, but some unsettled atmospheric air that could cause some rising air. Notice where that upward energy is going to be making its way through the midnight hour. Jamestown, Valley City, Fargo-Moorhead, Lakes Country, just after midnight. So there will be some energy in the atmosphere to produce some hail. My thinking is it may be an inch, maybe a little over. Gusty straight line winds could be a factor because we already have gusty winds that will be on the increase from the south. And if these storms burp out some additional air on top of the 40-mile-per-hour winds, then your trampoline in the backyard might be found up to the north somewhere in the morning hours. Anything for Grand Forks. There is a chance for some rain in the forecast as we showed you just a couple of moments ago. Tyler, if you missed it, I'll put that right up one more time for you as we take a look at this model's rendition of the hour-by-hour forecast. Here's the storm, showers, and thunder making its way up through the Red River Valley as we cross the midnight hour and into the overnight. Very heavy rain will be the main threat for you. The risk of severe is pretty low. It's going to be more of a rain and windy type of system for you, Tyler, up in the Grand Forks area, and all of you up near Crookston and points north, more of a chance for wet rain as opposed to white rain, right? Like they're getting in Montana. How about Oaks? Here you go. Oaks is right there where my finger is, and you see what's coming through. You're going to have round 1 coming around 10 to midnight, then round 2 coming as we go through around 2 to 3 in the morning, and then the system becomes all rain, and the windy thunderstorms will push out into Minnesota. Here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to pass along to your friends. Hutch will be here. If anything's severe, come to my Facebook page here, get the very latest from me, or anywhere you can find out information tonight, whether or not that storm moving towards you is severe. But what I would do now, it's 9:20-ish in Oakley and Thief River Falls, and your risk of storms up in the northern part of the valley, not as high as down to the south. And by the time they get up to you later tonight, not likely to have much of that severe risk in your neck of the woods. It's the same reason why we don't have much severe up in the Minot area right now, north of, say, the Highway 200 corridor. How about Lake of the Woods? Just wet rain for you. Good question, Lynn. Thank you. The risk area, I'll put that up one more time. I love the questions. I really appreciate all of you asking them. And this is what I love about Hutch's weather right here. I have the opportunity now to share with you what is going on with regards to your area. If you want to ask a question, please do. Do not be shy. There are no bad questions. Well, I'm not going to knock anybody for asking a question on here, but the bottom line is that when it comes to storms, what makes Hutch's weather unique and what I like about it is to be able to serve your questions so you don't have to go to bed wondering what's going to happen. Let's see if I have any other questions out here. And again, if you're in the northern area where it's green on this map, what do all these colors mean? Let's go over that real quick one more time. Thank you, Lynn. Let's see, you're asking a question. A bad question is one not asked. Samantha, you are absolutely correct, Amundo. So thank you for the kind words too, Samantha. I appreciate your support and your kind words. Please pass the word on that Hutch is here. And I always have and always will treat every town on the old weather map like you're important too. So if there's anything going on, you can count on Hutch to keep you ahead of the weather. I'm looking here for the radar. Is it gonna get bad in Fargo? You know, what I want to let you know with regards to the questions like that is that we cannot forecast exactly where one of these tiny little thunderstorms are. So this is just a quick little message that tells you there's a chance of storms in this area that I showed you right here. And that chance of storms looks like everybody in the yellow area is going to have bad storms. No. Here's what the radar is showing us, and this is what I want you to keep in mind. The average size of one of these thunderstorm cells on average is about 10 miles around. That's it. So these little pimples on the radar map are what's affecting small areas. Now, when you get a pimple-sized 10-mile around thunderstorm, there's a downdraft side and an updraft side, and right here, that's the downdraft side where we could have some hailstones, and that's only going to impact an even smaller area. So that's why the north side of Fargo can get heavy rain and maybe even some hail, while the south side of Fargo says, I got nothing, Hutch. My rain gauge is empty. Why? That was a bad forecast. Well, our models cannot tell you exactly what town these thunderstorms are going to move over. And if somebody shows you that and says that storm's going to hit Fargo tomorrow night at 10 p.m., you're going out on a limb. That's not what this science is about. This is meteorology. We can tell you where the chances of those rising pockets of air are, but make no mistake about it, those rising pockets of air form thunderstorms where they darn well want to that day. There's also not one town on the map here that is immune from thunderstorms. Okay. If you've been around a long time, you've heard people say, we got protection here in Grand Forks. It's where two rivers merge. And that is a bunch of poppycock. There is no reason that severe weather is not going to hit Grand Forks because there's two rivers moving in. Severe weather can hit Grand Forks. We can have tornadoes in and around Grand Forks. Polk County and Otter Tail County are the two most tornado-prone counties in the entire state of Minnesota. So that's right here. So a long-winded answer to your question is basically the fact that I can't tell you whether a storm is going to hit Fargo bad tonight, but there's a risk of bad storms tonight. And by bad, I mean hail around an inch or so in diameter, gusty winds that could hit 60 miles per hour or so. And the best timing I can give you for that hitting Fargo is between 10 and midnight, and then another slash from the west coming in a little later around 2 to 4 a.m. So that's the best our science can do. Let me show you one other fun thing here. And I got another question. What is Bemidji going to get? I got another question. Thanks, Brooke, for your question. I'll answer that. Another question from Greg. Where's Hutch's guitar? Check out this baby. See it? The world's tiniest guitar. And I've never tried playing it yet. And you should try stringing that thing. It's really hard. I put 9s on it, but it's pretty. Okay, thanks for clarification, Wanda says. That's how storms work, man. Some of us get them, some of it don't. Stephanie says, thank you for keeping us updated. I appreciate the honesty and all a lot of fun. Sherry, thanks for the smiles. Does elevation play a factor on the storms? It can. Storm splitting is another thing, though. Here's one thing to teach you a little bit about science. Right now we're using the radar way out here in, let's look at the Mayville radar. Let's see. Okay, so the Mayville radar is here. Here are these storms out by Minot. Look how it looks like one solid line of thunderstorms. Is everybody going to get these storms? That's a long ways away. The farther you go from the radar beam gets wider and wider, and as it gets wider and wider, it makes the storm look like it's one solid line of solid thunderstorm. And then you look out your window, and as it approaches, the rain goes to the north, and you get mist. It splits. What's going on? Let's move to the Bismarck radar. This is a radar that's much closer to this line of storms. As a storm approaches the radar, you can start to see the individual thunderstorm cells. Now, it looks like everybody's getting rain, and there very well could be, but again, this is what it's showing at cloud level. There is a hail core. There is not a hail core. There is another hail core. This could move over this area here. And in this little area, the north side gets hail. In the middle, they might get nothing. This might be the updraft where the radar is seeing raindrops and hailstones. They ain't falling. So all of this can be a factor in what happens to you. You all ask very good questions. Thank you very much for the stars to all of you. Shelly, thank you. Can you send the storm to Detroit Lakes? We need a good one. Okay. Well, right now, the Washburn, Highway 83, Underwood, you're getting a pretty windy thunderstorm here. There's no warning on it, but it does look like this hail core right here north of Center in that Oliver County area could be pretty robust. Stanton up there by the big old coal mine. You got to watch some heavy rain starting to show this little backward C shape to it. Maybe a windy thunderstorm as well. As we take a look at that sucker moving through, you can see earlier the individual cells were racing to the north and east, but this line here, a little different. This one's marching almost due east. Underwood, Washburn, Highway 83 corridor people, that one's heading towards you right now, non-severe. Now, here is another look at another model. So let's do this. Thanks for the clarification. Kitson County. I'm getting a lot of questions here, and this is what I like. A late night of chasing possible? Tell you what, Kai, chasing storms at night is really tough. It's very dangerous because you cannot see what you're driving into. So you really need to maybe back off or just stay at a very safe distance to do that. What should we expect in Hudson, Wisconsin? Gary, Hudson's got some thunderstorms that'll be heading towards you. And tomorrow, I think there'll be a chance for some more robust storms. So it's been a busy couple of days out in Wisconsin. And if you look now up here by Merrill and up by Wisconsin Rapids and Stephen Point, here these blue areas, that tells Hutch we have some strong thunderstorms in that area of central Wisconsin. So these storms are windy. These are moving off to the east-northeast as well. Right now, just below severe levels at that particular point. And up to the north, if we look in northern Wisconsin and way up here as you get up into the UP near Marquette, Michigan, those are stout puppies up there. Thanks, Judy, for the comments. I'm glad you like Hutch's weather class. Sit down, students. All right, just kidding. It's time to talk weather. We got our severe thunderstorm warning down here. This is for Canby heading toward Montevideo. This is that storm we showed you a little bit ago. And this is our first warning in the region for some time. This storm has pumped up its intensity a little bit. It doesn't look overly impressive on the radar, and they're calling for 50-mile-per-hour winds. So this is not warned for severe wind. Severe wind is 58 miles per hour or more. That causes damage. 50-mile-per-hour winds will blow sand in your face, and it's no fun at all. But it's not a severe thunderstorm warning for the wind. It's the hail threat. So this little core down here, not far from Canby, is a hail core moving up toward that Montevideo area and will continue its trek to the north and east. The National Weather Service is saying this puppy is moving. I'll get my seat out of the way here, northeast at 40 miles per hour. So there it is. I do expect then, with this being the first severe storm that's firing, look at the hour. We don't have peak heating of the day. We got none of that nonsense going on. If you follow this line up here all the way through Aberdeen, if I back it up and put it into the I-94 corridor, our model was showing that we're going to have a line of storms firing. Bismarck has just gone severe with this line of windy thunderstorms that I just showed you that was near Stanton. So the Bismarck National Weather Service office has a severe thunderstorm warning for areas along Highway 83 moving east, due east at 45 miles per hour for 60-mile-per-hour winds and only nickel hail. So that storm is mainly going to have a severe impact of the gusty straight line winds. Now, I can take a look at this storm once again for you as you're looking at that Highway 83 corridor. And the one thing I want to point out is this backward C shape that we're starting to see pushing in towards the burn. That's an indication that this storm is causing some, rain and hail collapsing, blowing forward and accelerating the storm, and the surface winds are accelerating faster too. So when storms speed up, when they start having this bowed shape to them, then they can be quite windy. So Hey, Simon, good to see you on board as always. And night vision goggles help too. Wow, Kai, that would be some fun chasing with night vision goggles, especially if you have the ability to see the hot and cold air mixing it up. That would be really cool. Okay, so we're starting to see just a little bit of thunderstorm formation up here between Carrington and north toward the Devil's Lake Basin. And remember, the risk for severe storms was a little lower north of I-94 tonight, but this is where we have a line of windy thunderstorms that are advancing off to the east. So that's what we have going on in our area. I am going to take a look at that model because I've been talking about it and you've been asking me questions. Someone threw a piece of gum at my forehead. Can you send them to the principal's office? Yeah, you know what? They're going to need a hall pass here. Let me see. What was the name of that student? Okay, just kidding. All right. I wouldn't give them a hall pass if they threw gum at you. That's not good. Okay, model. Let's go to model guidance. We're going to pull this up and we're going to take a look at let's go to this model over here. Boom. Here we go. All right. Now we're going to pull up a different model this time because they are a little bit different. And this is where I just want to take a second and show you that each of these models has a different solution to how things are going to form tonight. First things first, is this model even showing anything that is like what's happening now? Not really. Okay, so here we are approaching the 9:30 time frame. This is 9 o'clock. It's showing a solid line of storms. Well, we have a pretty fair line of storms moving through the Washburn area right now. Not too bad, but this is not happening right here. This is absolutely not happening. This is happening, and the storm that's warned is moving up, but these haven't fired yet. So that doesn't mean this model is totally out to lunch, but these are not firing for some reason. Now look at this model. This model says, look out as we cross into the midnight to 1 a.m. time frame, Southern Valley. A lot of intense, strong storms. Up north, less severe, but they still have a little backward C shape to them, meaning they could be windy in the Devil's Lake Basin heading towards Rugby, Walhalla, not Rawlhalla. It's fun to talk at this hour of the day. And all the way down into the parts of southwestern North Dakota. That's not far from Lemon, South Dakota there. As we go into the wee hours of the overnight, these storms will move through. Notice that we're seeing fewer reds. The risk for storms as we go through the overnight is there. There's going to be very heavy rain potential. Flooding is going to be a very heavy concern with these rain-producing storms. And we're talking rainfall amounts over 3 inches in places between now and Tuesday night. These storms, as we go towards daybreak, 5, 6 a.m., are surging out of here, and there'll be a few of us with some soggy soakers to start today, then a break. And we're just going to reload the old cap gun here as we head into tomorrow. Heat, humidity will build in southern parts of Minnesota. North winds here means cool, stabler air, not a risk of severe storms in our area. But here we go. If you're on the Minnesota side of the river, any of our Minnesota counties, there'll be a chance of severe storms. And tomorrow's risk could include some tornadic activity. Bring a tornado too, says somebody. I'm not too much into ordering up tornadoes, although I'm very fascinated by the atmosphere. I don't want to see anybody get a tornado, but that's what we're here for, to kind of keep you up to date. Let me show you one of the reasons why Hutch is more concerned about tornadoes tomorrow. We're going to look at a little bit of parameter in the atmosphere. This is called the tornado parameter. This model says tonight's tornado parameter dissipates as we head towards 10 o'clock. There's very little of it. There's a little, but not a lot. Those are concurrent with storms that will be making their way through, but this is morning. This is by the morning hours tomorrow at about 5 a.m. Not a huge chance of some storms being in that area even, but there'll be some spin. Here's where the gun reloads tomorrow, the cap gun, I just called it, right? And look at the spin in the atmosphere that will be associated with the afternoon storms forming tomorrow. The early ones will have the best chance at some spin. That spin increases into the early evening as well. If you are anywhere from Bemidji out towards Walker and International Falls, there will be some spin. You see that? So with tomorrow's thunderstorms, there has been, Hutch has told you the last couple of days, a better chance at seeing some tornadoes on the Minnesota side of the river. All right. Thank you very much. And let's see what else we have. Bring a tornado too. I told my grandpa I wanted to see one. He said I was crazy and real bad. One went through Fargo. Yeah, Jonathan. One of the most famous researchers of tornadoes, Fujita, you've probably heard that term before, Fujita scale. studied that tornado back in the 1950s, late 1950s. I believe it was 1958, if I'm not mistaken. And F5 moved through Fargo, and people lost their lives. So we can get very strong tornadoes up in our part. Tomorrow, there'll be a chance of a few strong storms tomorrow, and I'll be on top of that as well. The greatest risk will be off to the east. So I hope that answers your questions about storms tonight. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We do have severe storms working their way through Washburn right now. I do have a photo to share with you. And again, if you do have photos to share with me, that would be wonderful for you to just share them right here on our feeds, right? And then all of us get to see them. But if not, I have a couple that were shared with me over the weekend from our storms, and I'm going to go ahead and take you to that right now here. So let me pull this out of the way, move this puppy over. Here's the storms on the radar. I'm going to put that up while I'm looking around. And you can certainly see Washburn all the way up to Underwood, Cole Harbor, seeing some very stout and windy storms racing along. I think on the south side of the storm here is where things could enhance here in a little bit. That's right over center with what looks to be a little bit of a hail core there as well. As far as spin in this storm here, we'll take a quick look at the velocity in it. And what we're seeing here is a lot of straight line winds, very strong winds blasting out this way north of Washburn. The radar in Bismarck cannot measure winds going east and west, and that's what these winds will be. These gusty winds from this storm, straight line winds, will be from the west, from the northwest, or from the southwest, but mainly a westerly component. So we can't do a good job of measuring them, but it looks very windy there. We're not seeing a lot of spin or a lot of tight rotation in this storm, so that's a good sign as well with regards to this storm. Let's take a look at the base velocity, and we're seeing unidirectional winds heading right into the Turtle Lake and Mercer areas now, Washburn and Underwood. All right, staying north of Morton County for you folks in the Mandan area and Glen Olin. So let's talk a little bit about these pictures that I wanted to share with you. So to do that, we're going to pop over here. I got to go here and here. And here was one taken tonight by my friend Joe. Joe, thanks for sharing. This is from the Jamestown elevator tonight, the PV elevator. Look at that piece of art there, and look at the high clouds tonight. We didn't have any stormy skies in Jamestown this evening. The clouds did increase late in the day. Now, as we went through the weekend, I got these shared from the Bismarck area. This is from the 14th. Thank you so very much for sharing these photos, by the way. Stormy skies over America indeed. In fact, catching some mammatus clouds. Do you see the lumpy, bumpy shape to these clouds out here? Those are called mammatus clouds stirring over the Mandan area. And again, just some ominous looking skies. So overnight, we won't see many of these clouds because, oddly enough, it's going to be dark. You can lock that in Hutch's forecast. A dark night is on the way. And again, thank you for watching. I'll take a little bit of a break here. Thanks, Hutch. Come back on Facebook in an hour or two. That's right, Jonathan. We're going to get back here and let you know when the storms are approaching the eastern part of North Dakota. If you happen to be in the Sheridan County area near McCluskey, I'll keep you apprised of that windy line of storms coming through your area as well. But by and large, our storm risk is going to be increasing between now and midnight. So Hutch is going to go make him a sandwich, and I'm going to have a tall glass of water. I'm going to sit in here in my slippers and get cozy, and I'm in it for the long haul with you. If storms approach your area, they could be severe tonight. Hail will be a threat. Flooding rains will be the main threat, and I will let you know we do have a flood watch across most of the area tonight. Looking at our precision radar, we can see all of these green outlined counties. Most of Minnesota and all of eastern North Dakota are already in a flood watch. Thanks so much. Rock on. And me and my little mini guitar here will probably try to put some new fresh strings on that and see if we can strum a tune and cover some severe weather tonight.